the 5 basics, and I added an extra one in there too, that you will need to know before you even become a dispatcher. These 5 things are non-negotiable. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So I took some notes, guys, and I took some time to really think about like the bare minimum basics that you would need to be a dispatcher. Number 1 is you will have to have no criminal history. Number 2, you have to be able to pass a physical exam. Physicals are very basic. As long as you're in good health for the most part, you will pass the exam. But if you have any serious health issues, that could be a problem for you, because they won't recommend you for the role if they feel like you're not going to be able to physically or mentally perform up to standard. 3 is what I alluded to in my first video about dispatch. It is the critical test. I didn't use it by name, but that's the exam I took, and I was referencing the critical test. It is, in my opinion, very difficult, and you have to use a lot of critical thinking. Critical. I don't know if that's a play on words or not, but yeah, you have to be able to use your brain, and the results do matter. They look at that. If you fail it, then I don't think you'll get considered for the role. Number 4, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. Number 4 is to be willing to hear traumatic calls. I don't know why some people think that 911 dispatch is the same as any other dispatch position. You will hear people screaming in your ear, either yelling at you or terrified for their lives. And you have to be cool, calm, and collected throughout the entirety. And you could get 300 calls a shift. With that being said, I do think it takes a specific type of person to be a 911 dispatcher. And that's not me tooting my horn or anything. It's just you have to be able to compartmentalize and be able to put that in the back of your head. One call goes crazy, you just kind of clean slate into the next call, and have to be able to go home and interact with your loved ones like normal. And that isn't something that everyone can do. And if you are unsure about that, then I would highly recommend reconsidering being a dispatcher, because if you have any doubt in your mind that that's something you want to do every day, it may not be the career for you. And that doesn't mean that you aren't cut out for a different role in a different part of law enforcement, but that's just something that I thought was very important to put on this list. That is the meat of your job, is to help people who are probably going through the worst point in their lives. And that's going to come through the phone. You're going to be the sounding board for that. And you have to be able to, like I said, put that in the back of your mind and be able to be at your top caliber to help that person. Number 5, overnight shifts. Had to put this on the list, guys. If you have a family or children that you schedule-wise will not be able to work an overnight shift, again, another thing I would just write off being a dispatcher, at least a 911 dispatcher, completely. I've never heard, at least in my role, of anyone being able to get overnights off. It is mandatory for everyone to work an overnight shift at least once a week. It's not something that is optional. You have to work those unless you're super seasoned. You've been with the dispatch unit for decades. Maybe you can like get out of that for some sort of health reasons, but 9 out of 10 times you're going to have to be okay working overnight shifts. And that is a metaphysical adaptation. You have to, like, body-wise get used to being awake and being alert all times of the day. And that's something it takes getting used to. On top of that, if you have obligations, if you have kids, you have to get ready for school in the morning, and you cannot feasibly do that, then I would write off being a dispatcher right there. I know it sounds very harsh, but this video is here to give you the true tea and make you really like start to think, is dispatching for you? You have to be open to criticism and unpredictable days. Now, when I say criticism, you may have a stellar call, but you may do something that may be something you need to fine tune. None of us are perfect, and every call, I'm going to get into that, is different. So you're going to have to adapt, right? And if you do something wrong, coaching is your best friend. A learning opportunity is a chance for you to grow in your role. And if you are someone who's very adverse to criticism and like you get rubbed the wrong way by it, then not only is that going to come through to your QA, to your callers, it's going to come through to your coworkers, and eventually you're not going to want to be miserable in that role, right? You're going to just end up quitting, and no one wants to quit. Dispatch is awesome. There's so many awesome benefits that come with being a dispatcher. I'm a young dispatcher, new to the role, but it's just like a family environment, and that's what I've been craving in a job. And I'll get into a video going over the benefits of being a dispatcher and the pros. But if you're someone who's very like sensitive to criticism, or you're like a lone wolf and you want to do your own thing, no. That's not going to work, because you have to be a team player. You have to be able to sharpen certain things that may not be perfect about your call taking. Paired with that is just unpredictability. You're going to hear a lot of odd things. I have listened to quite a few calls now in my training, and a lot of them are different. They're out there. And I know I'm going to hear more of that type of stuff. So in all honesty, you have to be open to the unknown. Every day you clock in will be different. I love that. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me invigorated. It keeps me excited, passionate. I've done monotony, and it's just not for me. Every single day you will hear a new caller with a new situation, a new problem that you have to figure out and solve. So that's it for the video, guys. I kept it really short and sweet, and I really stuck to like basic stuff that like applies to anyone who wants to dispatch. Again, this is not to discourage you, but it's just to make you think and see if this role would be something that would truly work for you. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you like the videos I post to my channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button. You know the drill. Be well, be safe, and take care, guys. I'll see you guys in my next one.